Hello, it's Ashley from With Jack. I'm back again to answer another 3 questions from the freelance subreddit. So let's get on with it. The first question is I onboarded a client despite noticing the red flags. How do I get out? So I onboarded a client in January despite seeing the red flags. They offered a lowball price, they posed requirements on extremely short notice, and the communication seems slightly aggressive too. I agreed to work because I needed the money, but it isn't worth it. My mental health is tipping right now, and I don't want to get into another breakdown. What do I say when asking for an out? So I really sympathize with this person. It's not an easy situation to deal with a horrible client, especially when your mental health isn't in the best place to begin with. Um, the best thing to do in this situation. And I just want to say, like, I've been there myself as a freelancer because there's a lot of uncertainty about where the next job is coming from. A lot of the time, you do accept clients despite them exhibiting red flags, and then 9 times out of 10, it does end up being a case of what this freelancer says. It isn't worth the money. So we talk a lot with Jack about the importance of having contracts. And we don't just say that because we work in insurance and we like legal stuff. The reason that it's important to have a contract is because it gives you a blueprint of what to do in situations like this. So within your contract, there should be a termination clause that tells you this is what you have to do to end the client project. For example, I recently started working with a subcontractor on a kind of retainer basis, and the termination clause that we've both agreed to is that they have to give me 4 weeks' notice to end their involvement with the project, or I have to give them 4 weeks' notice to terminate their involvement with the project. And this is why contracts are so useful because they give you this blueprint of what to do, how to effectively end client projects, whatever the reason. Um, I'm going to assume that this person doesn't have a contract, which is why they're asking. Let's see, what does your contract state? Yep, haven't signed a contract yet. So in that case, I would just have a conversation human to human with them and say, look, my circumstances have changed. I don't think I'm the best person to work on this project anymore, and I would like to end my involvement. And then, of course, even though they're a difficult client, you still want to do everything as properly as possible to give them as few reasons to get aggressive so you can help them transition to another freelancer or whatever it is that they want you to do to wrap things up. But certainly having a contract with a termination clause removes a lot of the fear around terminating a project because you have a blueprint of what to do. And then if a client ever did respond to that in an aggressive manner and maybe make some kind of accusation to you, that's why you have your insurance ticking away in the background to help you deal with that. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, this one's quite a long one, so I'm going to skim through it, but the client wants a refund. Am I the not very nice person for disagreeing? So I've recently left a project through mutual consent. The client's made 1 of 3 scheduled payments and they're now asking for a refund. The first scheduled payment per our contract was to compensate research, strategy consultation, and meetings already done. This totals an average of 8 to 10 hours of work per week. After allowing it to go on for too long, I decided to walk away from the project, at which point they finally got serious about working on the contract. They had said that they'd used their consultation to advance, their agenda with stakeholders. So they benefited from the work. Then we move on to the next phase of the project, and this is where we start to see scope creep and things like that. The client altering their desired deliverable and research plan. Fast forward, the freelancer misses a deadline, presumably due to scope creep. That seems to be a really common reason for missing deadlines because the client's constantly changing the goalposts of the project. They then asked for a refund for the payment they'd made, And I did express that the contract covers this payment, but that we could work on another solution like a partial refund. And now, whilst having lunch with a coworker, they brought up that the client had been blowing up their phone and saying that I ran away with their money, something that breaks our NDA agreement. So what would you do here? Okay, here's what I would do. I would not offer a refund, not even offer a partial refund, because that first payment that you received is for the work that you had already completed, the research, strategy consultation, the meetings, the 8 to 10 hours of work per week. So that payment covers that. You did that work. They've decided to change the scope. They've decided to change the deliverable. You've both mutually agreed to terminate the project, but you should be paid for the work that you've done. The fact that you've offered a partial refund is not good, because what that means is that you have shown a bit of vulnerability that this client can then zone in on, right? They can sniff blood and then continue to hound you for that refund. So I would say the advice that I give to my customers is that being insured is what gives you the confidence in these situations to say, no, I'm not giving you a refund. I've done this work. You've paid me for that work. Therefore, I will not be providing a refund. And what you do by telling them that is you then back them into a corner where they only really have one of two reactions to this situation, right? They either agree with you and decide to walk away and leave things be, which is what we want, or what is their other option? To take things further, in which case that's why you have insurance. So it's what I say, like only 5% of our customers will make a claim on their insurance, but everybody benefits from being insured because it gives you confidence to handle situations like this. And I've been there myself with a client when I was a freelancer. They weren't happy with the photos that I'd taken, even though the photos were very good. And they were asking for a refund. And I said, no, I've done the work that you hired me to do, and I've done it to a very good standard. So I don't see where else we can go from here. And their reaction to that was to walk away, to leave things be. But you need to stand your ground here. Don't even offer a partial refund. And what you can always do as well is you can use their NDA breach. You can keep that up your sleeve to use for later. If they do continue to come back and hound you for this refund, you can tell them that you're aware that they are in breach of the NDA and that you're willing to leave that be, provided you both agree that the project is at an end and they will not be pursuing you for a refund. Okay, last question. My client can't seem to relinquish control. I've been working with this client for about a year now. He was given to me by another designer that I worked under, and he didn't have time for the work. And I think I'm starting to realize why he didn't want to work with him. Isn't that so horrible that you basically pass your nightmare client on to somebody else? So he needed an update within the hour to submit for review on something. I did those updates, and the next day he called asking how he can change the animations and undo everything that I'd rushed to get done, which I don't like to do. And I have in my contract that I don't do anything in shorter than a 24-hour notice. So do I fire this client, or do I just need to put my foot down harder than I already have? Well, I mean, I would argue that you didn't put your foot down. I would say that you had good intentions by stating your boundaries within the project, which we should all have boundaries, and we should all communicate those boundaries with our clients. And in this case, you did that. You said, I don't respond to notices shorter than a 24-hour period. That's good. But what you didn't do was follow your own boundaries that you set. You didn't adhere to the boundaries that you'd set. And what that did was send a message to your client that said, hey, like, I know that we've kind of got these boundaries, but I'm not going to follow them, so you don't need to either. So, and in this case, I would just say you don't need to fire this client. You actually just need to stick to the boundaries that you've set yourself. And then if they continue to try to take advantage or abuse those boundaries, that's when you consider terminating the project. So the reason that I chose this question is because I wanted to talk about boundaries and the importance of them. But it doesn't mean anything if you have those boundaries and then you yourself don't stick to them, because all you're doing there is sending your client a message that it's okay for them to overstep those boundaries too. So thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful. You can check out with Jack at withjack.co.uk. We arrange insurance that helps to keep you in business by supporting you financially and legally if you have problems with a client. I will see you next time for more answers to burning questions. If you have any questions, send them my way, hello@withjack.co.uk, or leave them in the comments to this video. Bye.